Okay, so today we're going to be learning about Rapunzel. So last time I heard that you guys like to learn about the story, so we're going to go over the reading, vocabulary, and the grammar. So for today, first we're going to be going over the reading, and second, we're going to answer some reading comprehension questions, and third, we're going to be going over the vocabulary. And finally, fourth, if we have time, we'll go over the grammar as well. Okay, so the first part is the story reading. So here is the story. So, this is the story of Rapunzel. So let's kind of watch it first. And then we can get to other comprehension questions and vocabularies. So let's first watch the video.
My first year teaching, lesson planning was rough. I was spending so much
Okay,
Next
so
we'll be learning about comprehension. That's what he said.
this is the video, and this is the story of Rapunzel. So yeah, that was the story of Rapunzel, and I hope you guys liked it. So but now we're getting into more of a reading comprehension question. So these are some basic questions, if just testing you if you understood the story well. So you don't need to answer all of them, but you can try to answer some. So the first question is, what did the wife want to eat? So does anyone want to answer that? So, what did the wife want to eat?
You are going to answer this question. That's what he's saying. Okay?
So she wanted to eat something really bad in the beginning. So does anyone know what she wanted to eat? Yeah, it's some sort of vegetable. It's okay if you guys don't remember, but it was a lettuce. that like he wanted some sort of lettuce, so that's what she wanted. There, there you
What was that? So stand here. You see yourself on the screen. Yeah, just stand
go.
This person wants to answer the question. Just speak. Lettuce. Gavin, hello.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah, she was saying lettuce. I don't know
Yes,
if
that's
it's
right.
correct.
It was the
All
lettuce.
right, all right.
Okay, so the second question. So, what did the witch do to the child that was born? So the witch, after she made promise with the husband, what did the witch do to the child? Does anyone know?
David stole their child.
Yes, that's right. I think I heard it. Um, the witch took the child away, and then she put the child at a really big castle, a really high castle. So the witch kind of took the child away, and she put her in there. So, the third question is, what did the witch say about the outside world to Rapunzel? So, what did the witch um call the outside world? Does anyone?
Told Rapunzel the outside world is evil.
Thank you.
Speak louder. Speak louder.
She told Rapunzel that the outside world
Oh, yeah, the outside world. The witch said that the outside world was very cruel and evil. So yeah, she kind of lied to Rapunzel about the outside world. Um, so now the fourth question is, who came to listen to Rapunzel's singing? So
their friends.
yes, that's right, it's the prince. And then finally, how did the prince find out about Rapunzel? So remember how the witch sent Rapunzel to the desert, and the prince was now blind, so he kind of wandered around, and after a couple years, he came to listen to Rapunzel's singing again, and then that's how he found Rapunzel. So yeah, those were some kind of basic questions to see how you understood the story, but I can tell that you guys um understood the story really well. So yeah, good job with the questions. But now we're going to be going over some vocabulary words. So yeah, let's learn more about the vocabulary used in the story. The first kind of phrase is dare to. So the phrase dare to means to have the courage to try or do something that might seem difficult, scary, or unusual. So, for example, she dared to enter the dark forest. So the dark forest seems very scary, but this person dared to enter it. So you can see a couple of pictures here. So she's daring to climb this mountain, and they're daring to jump off this cliff into the water. But let's see how this phrase is used in the story. So here is a small part of the story that uses the phrase dare to. So that.
Welcome home, where every corner is
one dared to enter. The garden was surrounded by a high wall, and no one dared to enter.
So you can see kind of here that the wall was so high and no one dared to enter. So it means that the witch's house is very dangerous and no one would try to enter the house at all. So because it is dangerous, no one is trying to enter it or do it. So that means dare to, when someone tries to do something that is difficult.
What does it mean? There's something.
Now, this might
The
sound
teacher said that
familiar. So a witch is a woman in a story who has special powers or can perform magic. So, for example, help the witch casted a spell on me. So, well, the casted here, the cast means to use magic to make something happen. So, the witch casted a spell on me. It means that the witch um kind of gave the spell to me, and so here is kind of like the picture bottom here. Kind of might sound familiar. Now the next word is possess. So to possess something means to have it or own it. So for example, the ghost possessed him and he is acting differently. So you can see kind of here there are this two meaning of possess. Again, it can mean someone kind of having something. And in other words, it can also mean some sort of like a ghost or other kind of spirit kind of possessing and controlling it. So, again, it can mean the boy having something or controlling something. So that means to possess. Now moving on to desire. So the word desire is to mean to have a very strong feeling of something. So maybe a person really wants to do something, and that is desire. So for example, I have the desire to travel around the world. So I have a strong feeling or wanting to travel around the world. So here is kind of like where um kind of like the story is used. So let's see.
Greatest desire to eat some of this lettuce.
Yep,
Her husband. It
you can see here. This is where the word is kind of used. You can see in the subtitles that it says, "It is my greatest desire to eat some of these lettuce." So her desire is to eat the lettuce. And desire, again, means to have a strong feeling or wanting something.
Tell your group so that they come to you before you do anything.
The next word is miserable. So miserable, this word means feeling very unhappy or sad, and it can also describe a situation that is very unpleasant. So, for example, he felt miserable when it started to rain on his picnic. So again, it means feeling very sad and unhappy. And this is where the word is used in the story.
My name is Sarah Sherman.
Don't tell everyone. Don't tell everyone.
and not knowing how to get any, the wife became miserably ill.
So you can kind of see it here. And not knowing how to get any lettuce, the wife became miserably ill. So miserably is just miserable plus ly. So it's kind of um describing word becomes an adjective instead. So miserable, but itself the word means very sad and unhappy. So the wife became very sad that she didn't get the lettuce. So that's the word miserable. The next kind of phrase is called decline to, and to decline means to say no to something or to refuse an offer. So, for example, I declined to his offer. So, at the bottom here, it's kind of like this person is declining her offer and kind of saying no to it. So, here is where the word is used.
But she declined to have them. Her husband got her many things to eat, but she declined to have them.
So, it kind of talks about how she declined to have them. So it means that she refused other fruits and she only wanted lettuce. So she declined everything else, meaning that she said no to everything else. That is the phrase decline. And the word frightened. So frightened means feeling scared or afraid. So for example, the boy was frightened to go to school. So it's kind of like you can connect this to a very simple term like scared or afraid. So both these people here are frightened about something. So again, frightened means very scared or afraid. So the next word is gather. To gather means to come together or to collect things from different places. So, for example, the children gathered flowers in the garden. So this is kind of in the picture right here. You can see how the children is gathering flowers, and you can also kind of see on the left picture here that they gathered some sort of seed. And again, to gather means to come together and collect things from different places. So this is how it is used in the story.
He gathered all the courage and climbed over the huge wall into the witch's garden. He gathered all the courage and climbed over the huge wall into the witch's garden. He gathered.
So here, the phrase is kind of like he gathered all the courage. It means that he collected all the courage in order to get to the witch's house. So gather, again, it kind of follows from the similar meaning, means to come together and collect. So in the story, it means to collect all his courage to go into the witch's garden. Now, this kind of word here, so greedily, and this kind of is a combination of greedy and the L-I-Y ending. So, well, greedy means wanting more than you need, and greedily is an adverb of greedy. So, if greedy is kind of like an adjective, meaning that it describes the noun, greedily is an adverb and it describes a verb. So, for example, he greedily took the pie or took the apple. So, greedily, again, it means really wanting something, but it's kind of more than that. So, wanting more than you need. And this is kind of what is used in the story.
The wife ate it greedily and felt a little bit better, and took it to his wife. The wife ate it greedily.
So you can see here that the word greedily is kind of used to describe how she wanted the lettuce. So she greedily ate the lettuce means that she wanted more than she needed and kind of how much she wanted, basically. The next word is regret, and regrets means feeling sad or sorry about something you did or didn't do. So, for example, I regret not studying for the exam and I could have done better. So, regret kind of looking back at your past and feeling sad about it. So, maybe you could have done something different. If you're wondering about how you could have done better, then you're regretting it. So, this is how it is used in the story.
You will regret this.
So you can see kind of the witch saying, you will regret this, meaning that she's kind of telling the man that the man will regret for stealing the lettuce from her garden. So regret, again, it comes from the fact that feeling sad about things that you did in the past. So the witch is going to make the man regret it, meaning that the man will feel sorry about stealing the lettuce in the future. So that is regret. So another word is pregnant, and pregnant means that a woman has a baby growing inside her body. So this is kind of used to describe the lady having Rapunzel. So
Me. My wife is pregnant, and she saw your lettuce from our window.
So again, this is how it is used in the story. And again, pregnant means a woman having a baby. So this is sort of the picture. And okay, so the next word is craving, or kind of used as a phrase of craving to. So craving means really wanting something, especially food. So, for example, I'm craving to eat pizza tonight. So, a person might really, really want to have something, especially with food. So, let's see how it is used in the story.
So she was craving to eat some. And she saw your lettuce from our window. So she was craving to eat some.
So, it is used to describe the woman. So, the woman was craving to eat some of the lettuce, meaning that she really wanted to eat the lettuce. It's the word craving. So, craving to do something. Now, the word permission. So, permission is when someone gives you the okay to do something. So, for example, my mom gave me permission to go outside, which basically means that my mom gave me the okay sign to go outside. So, she gave me the permission, and you can kind of see at the bottom here, she's giving permission. So, here is the video.
Why didn't you ask for my permission?
So here the witch asks, why didn't you ask for my permission? So the man was kind of stealing the lettuce, and the witch kind of said in return, why didn't you kind of just ask me for the okay sign? Because she never said that he was okay to steal it, so he didn't get permission before. So that was the word permission. And the next word is sorrow. So sorrow is a feeling of deep sadness or grief. So for example, she felt sorrow when her pet passed away. So here are two pictures at the bottom of sorrow, describing sorrow. So again, it means very sad and feeling of a deep sadness or grief. So here is how it is used in the story.
Way, leaving the parents in complete sorrow. Soon after, the witch came, named the little girl Rapunzel, and took her away, leaving the parents in complete sorrow.
So the witch took Rapunzel away, and that left parents in complete sorrow. In other words, in complete sadness, because sorrow means a feeling of deep sadness. Okay, so the next word is realize. And to realize means to understand something clearly or to be able or to become aware of it. So, for example, I realize that I still need to do my homework. So this person is kind of realizing. So, again, realizing means to suddenly understand something, or when suddenly something becomes clear in your mind, then you realize something. So here's how it is used in the story. So let's take a look.
Longer. The witch realized that Rapunzel's hair had magical healing powers. As she grew older, her golden hair grew longer and longer. The witch realized that Rapunzel's hair had magical healing powers, so she would.
So the witch talks about how the narrator talks about how the witch realized that Rapunzel's hair had magical healing powers. So before she didn't know, but now she realized that she had it, meaning that she understood that Rapunzel's hair had healing powers. So she didn't know that before, she just understood it. So that's realized. And next is splendid. So splendid means something is very beautiful or great. So for example, the garden was filled with splendid flowers in every color. So this is kind of like the picture of like a splendid flower. And yeah, it means very great and amazing. So here is how it is used in the story.
Rapunzel had splendid long hair, as fine as spun gold. Rapunzel had splendid long.
So here talks about how Rapunzel had splendid long hair. It means that it's very beautiful and great. So yeah, the picture kind of wow describes the word splendid, and because it is very beautiful. Great. So that is splendid. And the word cruel is the next word. So cruel means being very mean or hurtful to someone, and it often causes them pain or suffering on purpose. So for example, the bully was cruel to the younger kids, making fun of them and calling names. So this picture here on the left is a kind person, and on the right is a very cruel person. So again, cruel means being very mean or hurtful to someone. Again, the same picture on the right, he is being cruel. So this is how it is used in the story.
But the witch told her that the world outside is very mean and cruel. But the witch told her that the world outside is very mean and cruel.
So the witch said that the world outside is very mean and cruel. So this is kind of what we covered in the comprehension question. So you can see how you can use the word to describe something that is very mean. So cruel again means that it's very mean and it often causes some harm to people. So the witch said that the outside world causes harm to Rapunzel and is very mean. That is how it is used in the story. The next word is eager, and eager means being very excited to do something or to have something happen. So, for example, the boy was eager to answer the question. So, on the right, you can see kind of like the boy being very eager to answer the question. And again, eager means very excited to do something. So here is the part where it is used in the story.
She was eager to go out for her birthday. As Rapunzel turned 16, she was eager to go out for her birthday.
So Rapunzel, as she's turned 16, she was eager to go outside. So meaning that she was very excited to go outside because she was trapped in the castle all along. That means when she grew older, she was very excited to finally go outside. So that's eager. And the word mesmerized. So mesmerized means being so amazed or fascinated by something that you can't look away or think of anything else. So, for example, the prince was mesmerized by Rapunzel's singing. So again, mesmerized, being so amazed and so fascinated that you can't look away. So This person probably was mesmerized, and kind of like the same picture on the right, being mesmerized. And this is how it is used in the story. So let's take a look.
And the prince was mesmerized by her beauty. He fear. And the prince was mesmerized by her beauty.
So the prince here was mesmerized by Rapunzel's beauty. It means that Rapunzel was so beautiful that the prince couldn't take his eyes off of her, and that is mesmerized, being so amazed and fascinated. The next word is clumsy, and clumsy means someone who often makes mistakes. So, for example, he was so clumsy that he knocked over the glass of water. So he was being so clumsy and so like open to mistakes that he knocked over the glass of water. So here describes kind of like two pictures of being clumsy. Of course, the person dropping the plate, and you can see the picture on the right kind of like being clumsy about the book, and it is used in the story as such. Let's take a look.
Now,
Look at you, you're clumsy. I don't want people to take advantage of you. Rapunzel?
I can handle myself out there. I'm big enough now.
Look at you, you're clumsy. I don't want.
So yeah, the witch is saying that Rapunzel is clumsy, and because of that, people will take advantage of her. So being clumsy again means a person who makes mistakes often. So the witch is kind of saying that Rapunzel will often make mistakes. So that is clumsy. And take advantage of, it directly follows from the past video, but take advantage means using a situation or someone to benefit yourself, and it can be positive or negative, and it depends on what the person is doing. So, for example, she took advantage of the good weather by going for a walk. So that is the positive meaning of take advantage, but it also can be negative. So he took advantage of his friends by borrowing money and never paying it back. So this is kind of like the negative usage of take advantage, because the person is kind of like making others do the things to benefit only yourself. So that is being selfish, and that is how it can be used negatively. In the story, the phrase kind of take advantage was used negatively. You'll see it here.
now,
Look at you, you're clumsy. I don't want people to take advantage of you.
So it's kind of used in a bad sense here, means take advantage. People will kind of make use of her. So that is not a good phrase. So that is kind of like the negative meaning. But the next word is to approach. So approach means moving closer to something or someone. So for example, he saw the dog and slowly approached it. So approach again means to kind of move closer to something or someone. You can see the picture on the left. He is approaching the other man. And on the right, it can also be used to mean kind of describe approaching a problem. So kind of moving closer to a problem to solve it. So that is another usage of the word approach. But here is how it is used in the video.
as he approached the tower, he heard a song so beautiful that he stopped to listen. Forrest heard someone singing. As he approached the tower,
So the prince is approaching the tower, and it means that he is getting closer to the tower, basically. So, yeah, that's the word approach. And the next kind of phrase is strands of something. So, strands of something means thin pieces or parts of something like thread, hair, and fibers. So, for example, she had a few strands of hair falling over her face. So, on the left, here is a picture of strands of hair, and on the right is a picture of strands of threads. So it can be used for multiple things, but it all means thin pieces. So they're a collection of thin pieces. So it is used to describe strands of hair for Rapunzel. So it kind of describes how Rapunzel had a lot of strands of hair. So again, very thin pieces. So that's the word strands of something. And the next word is betray. So betray means to break someone's trust by acting against them or revealing something secret. So, for example, he felt hurt when his friends betrayed him by sharing his secret with others. So he felt betrayed, meaning that he kind of felt the break in someone's trust. So um
Pay attention.
here
Pay at the back.
on the picture left, this person is betraying this other person, kind of like knocking him over. And on the right, it's also kind of betraying. So um either one of them is kind of like betraying him, and you can see how this person kind of like has a broken trust. So um the other person usually breaks someone else's trust by acting against it. So here's how it is used in the story. So let's take a look.
How could you think of betraying me? You will have to pay for this. How could you think of betraying me?
So the witch um tells Rapunzel, like, how could you think of betraying me? So the witch feels very betrayed because Rapunzel was with the prince and the witch never allowed that. So the witch felt betrayed because Rapunzel met the prince. So she felt betrayed or loss of trust. She lost the trust of Rapunzel. That's how it is used in the story of betray. And the next three are kind of like phrases that we're going to be talking about. So it's not really a word, but rather a whole phrase. So the first phrase is no matter what. So the phrase no matter what means that something will happen or be true in any situation, regardless of what else might happen. So, for example, no matter what it takes, I am going to eat that apple. Okay, for this phrase, I'm actually going to ask you guys to create some sort of your own example using no matter what. So, if anyone wants to try that, it would be great if someone can use the phrase no matter what to make a sentence.
You hear what he said? Yeah, so you can use the word no matter what to make a sentence or to form a sentence. Come, come closer. Come closer. I hate that thing. I hate it. Yes. Anyone?
I can show you guys a bit more example. So if you guys are still wondering, oh yeah, do you have an example?
No matter what, I'll go for my pen.
Sorry, can you say that again?
No matter what, I'll come for my pen.
Louder.
No matter what, I'll come for my pen.
No matter what, I'll come to my bed. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah, no matter what means that um regardless of what might happen, you will always go to your bed because to go to sleep, probably. So yeah, that is a really good usage of no matter what. Um
Any other? Any other?
No matter what is short, we can play the football.
sorry, can you say that again? I couldn't hear it.
No matter what
If I
is
come
short,
to
we
the
can
day,
play the football.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you very well.
No matter what is short, we can play the football.
No matter what, you can still play football. Oh, yeah.
did you hear that, Kevin?
I heard the last part about football, but not the first part.
Let's say it again. Let's say it again.
No matter what is short, we can play the football.
Yeah, I think I heard like some reason at the first, and then no matter that reason, you can still play football. And you can also say something like, no matter the weather, you can still play football. Yet that is a very good example. So yeah, we can kind of move on to the next phrase. So grow something and an ER. So for example, it can also mean like grow older. So grow older is one example, but you can also take it to be grow longer and grow something else and ER. So, but for grow older, it means to become older in age or to get closer to being an adult as time passes. So, for example, as we grew older, we learn more about the world. So here's how it is used in the story.
Energizer's 3-in-1 child.
As she grew older, her golden hair grew longer and longer. As she grew older,
So this is kind of how it is used in the story. So as she grew older, her golden hair grew longer. So you can kind of see how it is used, and does anyone, well, gotcha.
You are reading out too much.
So um, I don't know when the video was on. Yeah, does anyone want to come up with an example of grow and something ER? So
David,
grow older,
David,
grow
please,
long.
if you can wait a bit.
Oh, okay.
Can you wait for 1 minute? A minute.
Yeah, okay.
Hello, David. Can you hear
Yes,
me?
yes, I can hear.
Our speaker is down, so let me fix it in a minute. Then we can
Oh,
proceed.
okay.
Check whether the speaker is on over there. Okay. We can continue.
Okay, so can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Is
we
it
can
better?
continue. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So, for this, can anyone make an example of grow older or grow longer or any grow plus ER ending? So, can anyone make an example of this phrase?
Hello, JB.
Yes, hello?
I think you have to come again with your question. The students were making noise, so I was just trying to control them.
Oh, okay.
So we couldn't hear what you said. Yeah.
So for this one, can anyone create an example of the phrase grow older or grow longer or any grow plus an ER ending? So can anyone make an example sentence of this?
You had a question. You heard what he said. He said, can anyone use this phrase, grow older, to form a sentence? Any of you? Hello, those who are sitting down there, there's a question on the screen. Can anyone use the phrase grow older to form a sentence? That's what he was asking. And because we were making noise, we couldn't hear anything. So if you can do that, just come here and then tell us quickly. Uh-huh. How is it? Yeah. Yes, you are here. You have,
My pet has really grown
Can you say
My pet has really my pet has really grown older.
Yeah, you can use the phrase to describe maybe your pet, how your pet grew older, and I'm assuming that you're meaning to kind of say that your pet got older in age. So again, grow older is to become older in age. So um next, this is kind of like the final phrase that we're going to be talking about. It is no longer. So the phrase no longer means that something is used to happen but doesn't happen anymore. So, for example, he no longer lives in that city. He is in a different city now. So, here is how it is used in the story.
It's a gift swap. You gotta swap your.
But that beautiful bird is no longer sitting in her nest. But that beautiful bird is no longer sitting in her nest.
So the witch is kind of saying here that Rapunzel is no longer sitting is at this tower. So she's telling him that yeah, Rapunzel was once in this tower, but no longer in this tower because she is gone now. So can anyone kind of use this phrase to make a sentence by using no longer?
He is no longer schooling again.
So can you repeat that, please?
He is no longer schooling again.
I'm not sure if I heard.
Maybe
Yeah.
she was saying that she is no longer schooling again.
Oh, she's no longer schooling a kid. So, um, maybe you can expand on that. So maybe you can say that you're no longer schooling a kid because I am too busy now. So maybe you can add that to make the meaning more clear. But yeah, that's a good example. Um, so yeah, that is the phrase of no longer, meaning again that something kind of used to happen but doesn't happen anymore. So, since we're kind of running out of time, we can quickly rewatch the story with the new vocabulary we learned. So I am going to kind of like start from the beginning. So, I'm going to quickly go over the words, and kind of for you to remember again. So the first word we learned was dare to. Next is which, possess, desire, miserable, decline to, frightened, gather,
Going over the words for you.
greedily, regret, pregnant, craving to, permission, sorrow, realize, splendid, cruel, eager, mesmerized, clumsy, take advantage, approach, strands of something, betray, no matter what, grow older or grow longer, and no longer. So yeah, those were all the vocabulary and phrases that we learned. And with that in mind, we're going to rewatch the story one last time. And that is going to be the end for today. So yeah. So yeah, let's rewatch the story now. And remember all the vocabulary that you learned while rewatching the story. Once again, and we kind of went a bit over time, but that is okay. So this is kind of like the end for today's lesson. And do you have any other questions, especially about the vocabulary that you might not have recognized in the story? Is there anything that you would like to talk about or anything you want to say? So if you don't
Any
have any
questions?
questions, or like I put another question here. What story do you want to hear from me next class? Do you have any story you want to hear?
Do you have any story you want to hear next class? So if you have, just come and tell me. If you have a story that you want to hear next class, that's next week. You have one. What I say it.
Snow White.
Oh, sorry, can you repeat that?
Snow White.
Gary, come to speak louder.
Snow White.
Snow White.
Oh, Snow White. Yeah, we can definitely do that next week. Yeah.
Snow White.
Yeah, okay.
Seven girls. Seven elves. One story. One story. Different.
Yeah, so is everyone okay with Snow White next week?
Everyone okay with Snow White next week?
Yes.
If you have a
Okay.
different one, you can come and say it. Huh? Oh, you don't like that one? You want the Snow White? You. All right. I think
So yeah,
they are all okay with the Snow White.
okay, so I can try to find a video of Snow White and prepare it for next week. So yeah.
All right.
If you don't have any other questions, then I'll see all of you next week. All right.
Okay.
And
Okay.
bye.
Start reading.
Yeah. Bye.
Okay.